So for the compare and contrast authors assignment, I chose Charisse Miracle Harper and Gary Polson. Both of these authors write in the realistic fiction genre, and the textbook says that realistic fiction is stories that could happen to people and animals within the realm of possibility for such improbable events to occur. This is Charisse Miracle Harper. She was born September 16th in Vancouver, Canada. She lives in Westchester, New York, and she is the author of the Just Grace and Fashion Kitty series, as well as picture books such as Cupcake, Mimi and Lulu, and If Waffles Were Like Boys. And these are some of her works, the pictures of them. On the left we have Just Grace, which was published in 2007. In the middle is Fashion Kitty, published in 2005. And on the right we have If Waffles Were Like Boys, which was published in 2011. Gary Polson was born May 17, 1939 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He is known for his coming-of-age stories about the wilderness, such as Hatchet, Brian's Winter, and The River. Here we can see those. On the left we have Hatchet, published in 1986. In the middle, Brian's Winter, 1996. And on the right, The River, 1991. So before I say any similarities or differences, I chose these authors because these were authors that I read when I was in elementary school. I remember reading Fashion Kitty in one of my classes for free time, and we read Hatchet by Gary Polson in one of my classes as a whole class. So I thought it was really interesting seeing them in our textbook, and I thought I would do my project on them. So some similarities between these two authors. They both write for the same age range, which is 7 to 12-year-olds, and they both write realistic fiction books with child main characters. And Charisse's books, most of her main characters tend to be in 3rd or 4th grade, and Gary Polson's main characters typically are in upper elementary or in junior high. Although both of these authors write in the realistic fiction genre, they have a lot of differences about them. The subject matter is very different in their books. Charisse's books are a lot more lighthearted and humorous. The subject matter usually deals with day-to-day life and modern-day issues, where Polson's books are a lot more based in nature and are survival stories. The tone is also different. Like I said, Charisse's books are lighthearted and humorous, and Polson's books are really intense and serious and get the heart rate going. Another difference is their active years, which means their audiences are kind of different. Although I read both of these authors when I was a kid, when you're writing a book, you're usually writing for those kids in that year. So the differences are and those kind of audiences are there. Charisse kind of wrote 2005 to 2011, and Polson wrote 1986 to 1996. Just Grace was written by Charisse Harper, and it is a journal from a 3rd grader who likes to draw comics, and you can see that on the left. It's just a picture of what a page in this book would look like. It has drawing, and it has text around it. And an excerpt from this book is on the right, and I'll read it. The computer always asks you a lot of questions, and as long as you don't say yes when it asks you about the word delete, things will not go really bad. Really bad is when Dad uses a lot of grown-up words that I'm not allowed to say, and then he has to talk for forever on the phone to a computer person who tries to help them fix what is wrong. This makes Dad very grumpy, mad, and not a fun dad. I did not want this to happen. So you can see from this excerpt, the tone is lighthearted, there's humor in it, and it kind of focuses on modern day life of what a child goes through. And here we have an example from Hatchet. On the left is kind of what a typical page in this book would look like. It's just text, there's no pictures, it's a novel. Hatchet is a survival story about a young boy, Brian, who in his journey of survival after his plane crashes in the wilderness. An excerpt on the right. Panic came then. He had been afraid, had been stopped with the terror of what was happening, but now panic came and he began to scream into the microphone, scream over and over. And he started crying with the screams. crying and slamming his hands against the wheel of the plane. So from that excerpt, you can see it's really intense. It's very serious. In the middle of this, his plane is crashing, so there's not a lot of humor. And it was written in 1986, so it's kind of life how it was in survival back then instead of modern day.